Yeah, you do actually. I'm glad you just said that on camera though.
You can edit it and put like.
One of the hottest topics in today's politics is if weed or marijuana should be legalized. How many of you know someone who smokes pot? Unless you have yourself, I'm sure that most all of you know at least one person that has smoked it or has been related into some way. Statistics show that marijuana is the #1 used illegal drug in the country, and the statistics also show that 50% of high schoolers try pot before they graduate. And I know these statistics may sound startling, but okay, Ryan, I'll ask you, how many people do you think have been scientifically proven to have died and result to marijuana-related deaths?
I don't know. Very few?
0, actually. And comparing that to how many people have died due to alcohol-related deaths, which numbers about 50,000 people a year, it almost begs the question, why is alcohol legal and marijuana is not? These sources have helped me find information for my speech, such as how many people smoke marijuana, how many deaths due to marijuana, marijuana myths, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, the Woman's Alliance for Medical Marijuana, and an interview with Emily Williams.
Oh, yay.
The main problem is that with marijuana being illegal is that it's due to its lack of evidence that it's harmful to our bodies, and it should be legalized because it could actually benefit our safety, and it has medical purposes that benefits terminally ill patients also. The solution would be that with restrictions, just like they have with alcohol, an age limit, and restrictions like if you smoke a certain amount, not to drive or operate heavy machinery, that marijuana could be taxed and actually help the economy and put more money into the economy. And it also can help terminally ill patients and help decrease the overcrowdings in jail. One of my main points in this speech are that people were very naive and ignorant to marijuana, the subject of marijuana. In an interview with Emily Williams, her attitude was pretty typical towards marijuana. When I asked her what she thought about it, her response was, it's bad, people can abuse it, get addicted. But when I started explaining her the actual medical statistics, her response was, oh, I didn't know that, so why is it illegal? And one of the main reasons why people are keeping it from being legalized is that they're not educated in the subject, and that they pretty much believe all the things that the government will tell us and why it's bad. A few marijuana myths are that it can cause brain damage, which is actually false. The American Medical Association is actually in favor of legalizing marijuana, and if the American Medical Association is in favor, then it can't really be that bad. And it actually, another main issue that people say is that it's considered a gateway drug, meaning that if you try weed, you'll want to try other things, which is also false. It has actually been proven that in areas where marijuana is legalized, hard drug abuse has decreased, including heroin, cocaine, and meth, as opposed to where it's illegal. And another thing is that you cannot get addicted to weed. It is actually said that has no addictive chemicals or anything in it, and people think that it can kill you. You actually have to smoke 40,000 times more than it takes you to get high to actually die from it. So unless you have enough weed to smoke for months straight, you really don't have anything to worry about. And thirdly is that it is more dangerous than tobacco, which is absolutely false. Tobacco contains harmful chemicals and toxins, and it actually is related to lung cancer. Marijuana is herbal, it is natural, and it actually has not been linked to any kind of diseases such as cancer. And its medical purposes are actually used for, in states such as California and Alaska, they have passed a law that people can get prescribed medical marijuana, which is used for terminally ill patients, especially cancer patients going through chemotherapy. if you've ever seen somebody going through chemotherapy, they're very weak, very thin, very feeble, because the chemo actually keeps them from being able to keep anything down. They get very nauseous, and marijuana is actually a nausea suppressant and an appetite enhancer. So it actually keeps them from living just on crackers and water, and it actually can help them be more healthy to fight off the disease. And also the same thing with AIDS sufferers. The disease itself can actually make them go through the same side effects as chemotherapy, and marijuana actually can help them also. Now, if you're ever wondering why is it such a big deal, think about it this way. If we're actually spending over $12 billion a year to keep marijuana illegal, including sending people to jail on being in possession of actual drugs or paraphernalia, and they're being sent straight to jail. And along with that is the problem of jail overcrowding. I've always been a firm believer the punishment should fit the crime. Well, tell that to the inmates who have been arrested because of drugs, who are getting harassed by actual criminals such as murderers and rapists and sex offenders, and all the actual criminals that are getting on parole because jails are overcrowding. Paul Armentano is an analysis for the National Marijuana Law Reform Group. And in Austin, or in Texas, they passed a law that if you get pulled over for weed, you don't have to go straight to jail, that they can write you a citation and you just pay a fee. Well, in Austin, the police have actually said that they are not going to do this. They are still going to send people to jail. And Paul Armentano says that we've seen time and time again that police not only make the laws, enforce the laws, but that they also can ignore the laws when it suits them to do so. My solution to this problem would be to legalize it, tax it, and place restrictions on it. Legalizing it alone would save taxpayers $8 to $16 billion a year. Legalization would completely wipe out unnecessary punishment and decrease overcrowding in jails. Taxing it would put more money into the economy, and putting restrictions on it would make it available to people at a certain age, a certain amount, just like they do with alcohol, just like you have to be 18 to buy cigarettes, for example. So if legalizing marijuana can help sick patients, keep criminals off the street, and save taxpayers money, then why are they trying so hard to fight it? Now, I hope that even if you do not choose to partake in smoking marijuana, then I hope that you feel a little more educated and that you could possibly even open your mind to getting it legalized, even if you choose not to associate yourself with it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep popping. It was okay.